Hello, friends, and welcome back to episode number 4 of the Door to Door Gaming Podcast. Daulton, Cameron, my good friends, my wonderful co-hosts, I have a question for you. Do you notice anything different about this episode? Do you see anything new?
I see things which is would believe is new.
Ooh, what is it?
Well, I see. Let's see. I see a face, and I see another face, and I see a third face that looks like me.
What? Oh,
we have video now.
We have video now. That's right. I can see. Not only can we see each other, but you can see us. But we can't see you. That would be uncomfortable for just about everybody involved, I would think. And also multiple forms of illegal. Yeah, yet. We'll get there. So, yeah, there's a lot of new stuff that is happening with this episode. We'll get towards most of it at the end of the episode. My name is John. I am your host for the episode. Cameron and Daulton, as always, are joining me. And I would love to read some emails if our wonderful, wonderful listeners and now viewers would send us any, but they have not, guys. They haven't. What can we do? What can we do to beg? Anything short of paying for emails.
Just have to literally just shout the name of our channel from rooftops, man.
We can fly over a city and drop leaflets.
There we go.
So yeah, no emails to read this episode. So send those in, guys. Hopefully next episode we'll get something. That being said, the topic that was picked last episode by Daulton's very, very unfortunate dice roll was emulation. That's the topic that we're going to have a short-ish discussion about. I hope it's short. Discussion about this episode. So I don't think that it's actually going to be as bad for you guys as you thought it was going to be. I actually, I'll spit out my views on emulation as a whole, but mostly I want to hear your guys' takes on it. Given your rather wild, seemingly experience with an Xbox that may or may not be in the bonus video that's coming out this Friday, which you can talk about, I imagine. But yeah, no, we're going to talk a little bit about emulation, and it's been in the news recently pretty big because Nintendo has been on a damn crusade against it for the past couple months. Most recently, this not necessarily has to do with emulation, but Nintendo just recently ordered a DMCA takedown of all Gary's Mod Nintendo related content on Steam. And it's working. More pushing more back a little bit. Yuzu, which is a very, very popular Nintendo Switch emulator, was successfully taken down by Nintendo. And then Yuzu branched off into 2 different other like sub emulator creations. They were both also taken down. So yeah, what do you guys know about emulation, or what is your viewpoint on it with what you do know, I guess?
Well, I found it funny you were talking about Nintendo taking down emulation sites, but meanwhile, they will emulate their own games and re-release them. So that's kind of interesting.
It came out. What's funny about that is the emulators that they were using at first were not in-house made emulators. They turns out that they were ripping fan-made emulators, the same ones that they were going after in the past, and just re-releasing their games on their own marketplace for that, under a subscription service, no less. So yeah.
Nice. Yeah, that's how you win hearts, man.
Yeah. Daulton?
Yeah, funny enough, when it comes to playing on a Switch and playing Nintendo games on emulators, the one place that I have played a lot of emulated games is on my Switch through the Nintendo like online service subscription to be able to play a lot of their stuff. That and your like crazy NASA Xbox.
Talk about it, man. Tell them about it.
So you guys will see and hear more about this during the bonus episode, but I have never seen such a collection of amazingly emulated awesomeness then when John, we all met up we all met up and got to play this OG Xbox, like the original. And every single old console that I have ever played or not played, with 95% of the games that have ever existed on them, were at my disposal for a few moments before filming the bonus episode. And I played Punch-Out and Battletoads, and it was awesome because
On
I
an
love both of those games
on
on
an
an
OG
Xbox.
Xbox with a Duke controller.
Yeah.
I know Cameron picked it up for a minute, and it was what were you? What was it? It was one of the Mario games, wasn't it? What were you playing with the Duke that you were just like,
Yeah,
this is so wrong?
it was Super Mario Bros. On the SNES,
Yeah.
and
Yep.
the I mean the controller, obviously being a Duke, was kind of blocky to begin
He's
with,
chonky, man.
and yeah, and then like obviously the buttons are vastly different than what they would be on an actual Nintendo controller.
Right.
So
Right.
Right, yeah.
Yeah, so that brings up a big point with me with emulation, which is why I love emulation. It's not to have a vast amount of games to be able to play. I've told you guys multiple times I have like 60 terabytes of stuff. I'm a data hoarder, right? And a large chunk of those is games. A very large chunk of those from a individual itemized list standpoint wise are old games, right? And it's not like I have like tens of thousands of old games because I'm going to sit down and play them all. The vast majority of them I haven't touched. I probably never will touch, but they're on a computer with an emulator because, in a sense, they'll never disappear that way, right? So like we're currently going through with the Xbox that you used, for example, we're currently going through an era where old hardware is starting to, for lack of a better term, rot. And they are dying by the droves daily. And a lot of people don't even realize it. That old SNES that you have stashed in your grandma's closet, that you forget it exists right now and it works fine tomorrow when you remember, a capacitor may have blew on it literally overnight, and now it'll never work again. Things like that. For example, the clock capacitor in the original Xbox is very infamous for popping and spilling battery acid all over the main board of the original Xbox. I have not done that repair. That Xbox that we used the other night for the upcoming bonus episode is on borrowed time, and it is a repair that I need to make. It's subpar parts that were used in that console, and one day if I don't do that, it's going to die, and there will be it's not like anybody's making new OG Xboxes, right? The same is true of literally all hardware. And then, so, there are people on the market that make, not necessarily for things like the Xbox or the PlayStation 2 because they're disc-based items, but it's very popular for cartridge-based, right? They make clone hardware. You can get a multi-cart system that will take an NES, an SNES, an N64, and like maybe a Genesis, maybe 2 or 3 other cartridge-based games and play them all in one system. Well, why don't you do that? Well, the problem there is data rot, right? A lot of these older boards, a lot of these older, especially cartridge-based games, they run off of flash memory that is getting very old and will fail. CDs and DVDs on games is a flawed media. It is quite possibly, it's the most easily accessible media, which is what made it popular, but it is also the most flawed media. It is subject to what is called disk rot. And we don't really know what causes disk rot or what creates it. It just happens. And you can actually see it. It's like a mildew or a fungus underneath the disk that gets in between the layers and spreads. Over time, polarity in different DVDs and CDs, magnetism, which is what a CD is, for example, or a DVD or a Blu-ray or any hard disk based media, including hard drives. I think I talked to you guys a little bit about this when I was talking about how many trillions of individual bits are in a, right. So remember how I was talking about with the hard disk based stuff, those discs are, for the most part, in a hard drive or in a CD, are a metallic layer, and each individual, like, there's a write head, and when you write data to it, it's an infinitesimally small laser that flips the polarity of a small piece of metal, a small section of metal of that surface. And over time, metal loses its magnetism, right? So the only way for a lot of this stuff to survive is, for now, being transferred from hard drive to hard drive as they slowly die, and being stored on places like archive.com, on random people's fucking hard drives like mine, right? If archive goes under, or all the random people's fucking hard drives die, and these cartridges fail, and these discs rot, these tens of hundreds of thousands of games just cease to exist. And we're already in a state where it's estimated that 80%. So on my hard drive, from as far back as you can imagine, from Daulton's gonna not have any idea, Cameron might have an idea, the ColecoVision, for example, or the or the Amiga series of PCs from the 80s in Japan, right? If you take every game that I have on my server, it's hundreds of thousands of individual games that I'll never see or touch, but they still exist, right? Now, if all the random ass hard drives like mine die, and the disks rot, and the things fail, right? The remaining estimated 15 to 20% of games cease to exist. Means we've already lost 80 to 85% of games, right? So it's an archival thing for me, right? I may never read it. I mean, just like books in a library, it's really important that they survive, right? I know in our particular town, it was a big thing a couple years ago. Our library flooded, and we just had dumpsters and dumpsters of books that were destroyed and sent to the landfill, right? It's really, I may never, yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that's why the library was closed for so long. I
didn't
will
know the
never
library was
read
closed.
99% of those books, but it's important that they exist because somebody will need them or get joy out of them at some point, right? That's why I'm passionate about emulation. So when Nintendo's coming through and doing the things that they're doing, and they're like, no, it's okay, we'll take care of our own IPs, we'll make sure that they exist. We're doing it, guys. We're on top of the game archival, and then they take 2 games out of their historic library and throw them up under a subscription. Thanks for doing something, but it's nowhere near enough. It's not nearly as much as I can do by myself. If I by myself collect your entire catalog of NES games that literally you can't fucking find anywhere, unless you're buying a half-dead thing cartridge on eBay for fucking $800, or one that may or may not work for $5, or you take 5 of those games and you're putting it up on your subscription service. I, by myself, if I can share your entire library with one other person, I've done more work than you have, and you have infinitesimally more money than I do. A lot of these companies need to step up and actually become, and I'm going to get added hard for this fucking scenario, because emulators are very, very stereotypically known for, haha, my pirate games, I get stuff for free. That's not what it's about for me in the slightest. Do I enjoy some of them? Sure. Are the classics the things that I go back to quite often? Of course. But I wouldn't have 60 terabytes taken up on one of my servers, or on my server, if it was something that I wasn't passionate about.
That's unreal.
That was there's I just fucking threw the book at you. Respond with however you think is appropriate.
I mean, putting my 2 cents into it, I'm in full support of emulation for very similar reasons. One, it's because if I like don't have like a PS1 or PS2 or literally any of the like the last like 6 generations of consoles, I have no way of enjoying a lot of those titles. A lot of them are on computer, but there are like certain gems that you'll miss because that like console gaming at that point was a lot more popular.
Right.
So for me, if it means that I can have access to those things, and also simultaneously they are preserved for other people to get joy out of, or just to have,
right,
Sure, fucking sign me up.
Now,
I don't care.
like, I would like to preface, I'd like to, I don't know what it's called when you preface something after, but I'd like to that with my speech saying that, like, oh, you know, I have had for a long time ROMs of Shenmue, for example, on a couple of different consoles. It's been ported digitally to things it's not supposed to be on. And instead of playing that, or spending $4 on Xbox, to my wonderful listeners and viewers, I instead went out and spent over $150 on a Dreamcast and a legit copy of Shenmue 2 episodes ago. So, yeah, at me. I don't care. Emulation's important. It's just as important as books in a library.
I will
Cameron.
say reprinting books is going to be a lot easier than reprinting a bunch of games. So
Yeah. No, that's completely fair. I mean, it's already to the point where, like, it has to be a digital only thing. I mean, I don't really support what I'm about to tell you, but you can go out and get 10 terabyte hard drives full of games from people on the internet for $200 or $300, and I don't agree with that because they are very clearly making a profit off of stolen properties, like, big time. But the convenience of setting up your own collection to help preserve can't be denied. But under no circumstances should you ever give money for a pirated game. There are ways to get them, and they're I'm not going to talk about how to get them, obviously, but there are ways to get them. And devil's advocate, for sure, there's reasons that people do it. There are plenty of scummy people that just pirate games. I admit that, of course, but yeah, that's emulation. That's me on emulation. And what's wild is, like, there's still plenty of emulators that are, like, still being developed, right? So, like, the OG Xbox has its own emulator, and it's dog water. It's bad. Because the reason that's so bad is because Microsoft did and still has done an amazing job on backwards compatibility. There's a PlayStation, there's a PS4 and a PS5 emulator, and the PS5 emulator is dog water because it's brand new. But the PS4 emulator is getting there, but it's not nearly as fast as of pace as anything like anything for Nintendo, and other stuff, because Sony's pretty protective of their IPs in the sense that they want, of course, it's a company, they want to make money, but they also want people to continue to experience them, which is why I don't have a PlayStation, PS5. I have a PS4. You guys have PS5s, but I'm sure you've seen the actually very large catalog of PS1 through PS3 games at that highest subscription tier. Sony
it's
takes
pretty significant.
Yeah, and a lot of the smaller ones drop through, and that's sad, which is where emulation can come in, and keeping your own archive and keeping some of those older things alive that may never see a financial light of day again. But it's really nice to see somebody like Microsoft, who they don't really go out of their way and, like, market everything, but, like, if you can get a hold of a disc, yeah, you can play it for sure. At least up until I don't know if the Series X has backwards compatibility for a lot of old stuff, but I know that the Xbox One was backwards compatible for damn near everything, clear back to the beginning. So, and a lot of things like Sega's dead when it comes to console gaming, right? The Dreamcast was the last thing they have. There's a couple of games that are licensed through other companies that you can get but for the majority, the most of it, if you want to play anything from the Dreamcast or Genesis, get a Dreamcast or Genesis, or get a ROM. That's it. Those are your options.
Right.
So, I like games, guys, a lot.
oh yeah, that was obviously the side of you that Daulton and I have skimmed the surface of, so to speak. Like, you talk about it from time to time, but that was obviously very heartfelt.
Yeah,
that was information overload.
I am the stereotypical, I was bullied in school by groups of people. I got along with most people, but that was my escape for sure. Like, growing up constantly, I was an only child. I didn't get along with too many people. So, I mean, that was my escape, man. Foreshadowing, maybe. RTS games, The Sims, strategy games, The Sims again. City builders, The Sims, third time. I was big on The Sims, like big.
Really?
Yeah, I was actually the reason that the viewers and audio listeners have no fucking idea what the hell I'm about to talk about. But the reason I brought that treasure hoard of old PCs home that I sent you guys pictures of a while back was because growing up I was more of a gamer in the Windows 95 and 98 era than I was a console gamer. I had a PlayStation 1, but like whatever. I was the weird kid that used to like play around in 3D architecture software at like 10 years old and shit. Yeah. I don't know, man. I don't know. There's even like archives that you can find. Oh god, for anybody listening, if you like PC games or if old PC games interest you, you both have computers, and it doesn't take up very much hard drive space. Check out abandonware.com. Oh my god. Yeah, I'll leave it at that. That is a treasure trove of old PC games, specifically, so including The Sims 1 is abandonware. The Sims 1 is completely abandonware at this point. It's completely free to download. Weird. Anyway,
what is abandonware? What does that mean? I've never
so
heard that term.
technically something doesn't enter the public domain until it is like 70 years or something like that out of like right. Which is why Steamboat Willie just entered into that not too long ago. Not trying to date this episode, but abandonware, the laws are gray, but it's also one of those gray areas where it's up to the owner of the content to do something about it, right? Abandonware is typically, if I remember correctly, it's viewed as like 20 to 25 years or 25 to 30 years. If there's been no financial movement on the product, it's considered abandoned. And typically it's widely viewed that like morally, which is most important for a lot of people because stealing is, a lot of people view it as stealing. Morally, it's more okay to download and use that software. So abandonware, I think it's abandonware.com. Hold on. myabandonware.com. So they list, god, what is their last, what is they have 20,000 old, they have over 20,000 old PC games from the DOS era.
Download abandonware games from 1965 to 2012.
Yep. And the wild thing is morally they try to be as straight as they can. And there's Alexa telling my family what to do. They try to be as morally straight as possible in the sense that if something becomes available for purchase, instead of a download button, it gives you links to Good Old Games or the Steam page or wherever it's actively being sold, the Epic Store, stuff like that. It's a really awesome site. And actually, I urge both of you to like see if you can find that one weird old fucking game from your childhood that, because I promise you it's on here. If it's that weird, it's on here, I'm sure. I've gone through here and found more than a couple things. It's not exactly emulation, but like there's quite a few on here. There's quite a few thousand on here that you get into you gotta like download DOSBox and emulate MS-DOS or Windows 95 or Windows 98 to run it, which is still technically emulation. But it's the kind of emulation that Windows, since everything on the PC platform is open source, Windows or Microsoft is like, do it, go for it. You know? So that's my first soapbox of the day, of the episode of the day.
I just found one called 18 Wheels of Steel.
That
Convoy.
game was dope. I know exactly what game that is.
Oh my god, there's 547 pages of just Windows games.
Yes. It's
Anno 1193.
The Anno series is amazing. They had a game come out within the past 5 years. It's like a city builder type thing.
Is that Anno 1800?
Anno 1800 came out, yeah. And then the one before that was Anno 20 something. It was a futuristic one, if I remember correctly.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I'm gonna let you guys have a moment because I was stupid and did not bring water. So discuss that amongst yourselves.
Yeah, Cameron, what were some of like the games that you played as a kid, like real young, like franchises that
Oh,
stick out? Because I'm looking at some of this list, and I'll be honest, I haven't heard of 90% of the shit that's on here.
let me hold on. I gotta look up a name, but I want to see if you can find it. It's not a super old game, but it's older. Um,
I did not bring back water. I brought back a whole thing of white cranberry peach juice.
Harry
see if you
Potter
can
and the Goblet
find
of Fire.
the older Harry Potter games are rough.
They're
Um,
rough, but they're nostalgic for me. They are bad.
if you want to play if you want to play a good Harry Potter game, that new one that just came out, Hogwarts Legacy, very good. Plus, you get to make your own character, so like you can actually put yourself into that world more or less.
Right.
See if you can find. There's a game. I played it on the GameCube. It was called Metal Arms Glitch in the System.
Glitch in the yes. That was I played that on Xbox.
Yeah, it was on Xbox.
Let's see. I do not see it on here, sadly.
Okay.
But
Bunch
trying
of
to think
old
of
Metal
any
Gear
older games.
games.
yeah,
Some game just called Metal Combat.
Metal Arms Glitch in the System is available on Oh, it was not re-released, sadly.
No.
Twisted Metal and Twisted Metal 2 are on here.
Yeah. Yeah, there's a lot of like shockingly like especially if like someone my age and Cameron's age started going through that list. We're at that age where like it's like really? That's abandonware? And then you feel old. So yeah, that's what anybody else have anything else on emulation before we kick into whatever we need to kick into, the bulky stuff?
I mean, I haven't really messed around with anything like that. I think at one point in time I had a Game Boy emulator on my phone and I was playing like Pokemon games. Um, didn't run too smoothly, but it was a Pokemon game, so it didn't have to. It was just kind of like chugging along.
So the wild thing about phones is Cameron, do you have like a flagship phone? Like
It's Android.
okay. Well, I mean like is it like the Samsung like fucking Galaxy whatever series like they should is
Yeah,
it commercial? Like okay.
yeah.
Dalton, you have what do you have?
Or what? Sorry?
What's your phone? What's your phone?
It's an iPhone. It's like an iPhone
Oh, okay. Yeah,
12.
that's literally all I needed to know. Both of your guys' phones can emulate PlayStation 2 games. I don't mean
Oh,
to
yeah.
make you feel old, Cameron, but yes, both of all of our phones can emulate PlayStation 1, PlayStation 2 games, GameCube games, Xbox emulator is Dogwater, and potentially some PlayStation 3 games. So like people's your phone is an emulation powerhouse. I actually turned my old I have the Pixel Fold now, but I actually turned my Galaxy Fold when I had it working for a short time into a DS emulator. Because when you open it up, it does cool stuff like this. So I was like just like yeah, it was fun. It was fun. So yeah.
I think that the main issue I had was the emulator that I was playing that Pokemon game on was just
Mhm.
kind of garbage in general. So that
Right.
didn't help.
Right. Fair enough. Fair enough. All right. Anybody want to know anything else? I'm ready to talk about some games.
Yeah, let's talk about some games.
We need to talk about some games.
Do some game things.
Nose goes. Actually, I already said that I wasn't going first. So,
Pick a
rock,
number
paper,
one.
scissors. Oh, that works too.
Pick a pick.
Wait, I have to pick the number. No, you have to pick
John.
the number. I choose the number.
No.
Okay.
John, pick a number 1 or 2.
Oh, ooh. What? 2.
All right. Well, Cameron's going first.
Cameron's gonna go first, regardless. Wasn't
Okay, I
he?
guess I was 2. Okay.
Oh my god.
Um,
All right.
okay. So as I was telling you guys, like I'm not the biggest Souls-born person, but I like to play them. I'm
Right.
terrible at them, but I enjoy playing them. I think I think they're fun games. They're irritatingly fun.
Fair.
Um, but I saw a clip of a Souls clone game that was like the exact opposite of like what you would expect from a Souls clone. It's called Another Crab's Treasure. Um, yeah,
Crab?
the crab, yeah, like a hermit crab.
Uh-huh.
So it plays like
I
a
saw
Dark
this.
Souls.
Sorry, I didn't mean to.
Yes. No,
Yeah,
no,
I
you're
saw.
good. You're
Okay.
good. So like the reason why I didn't think too much about it at the time when I first looked at it was like how is this a Souls clone? Because it is bright and colorful. The character looks like happy and cheerful. And like the setting, it's like under the ocean. So like it's very beautiful. It's well done.
Right.
But then I started playing it and it's like, oh yeah, no, this is a Souls game. There's like some dark stuff going on. So
It looks
you
so
play
happy
as
though.
what was that,
Why
John?
is there? I was just. It looks so happy though, but I
That's what I
Google
was
imaged
saying.
it. And why is there a handgun?
Okay, I will get to that because I just found out about that. Um,
Oh my
so
god.
anyway, you play as a hermit crab named Krill, and he's like up on the surface of this little what do you want to call it? Like a tide pool. Like that's like
Okay.
his that's his home. He lives kind of like next to the ocean, but not in the ocean. Well, there's this character that comes along, and he's a uh he's a what's the word I'm looking for? A loan shark. Like literally, he is a loan shark. He's like one of those plastic grabber toys, but he's like a shark
Oh,
head.
okay. I
So
got you. Yeah, like the little
he,
claw thing. Yeah, that kids
yeah,
use to
yeah,
grab shit. Yeah.
yeah. So he comes along and he's like, "Hey, so there's like a new queen in the ocean, and you're living in her domain, so you have to pay taxes." And Krill's like, "I didn't know about a queen. What are taxes?" so So the shark's like, okay, well, since you haven't paid your taxes, I need to take your home, which was like his shell. So you're
Not
after the
the
shark.
crab's shell.
He's got a fucking can on his.
Yeah, yeah. So the whole story is that you're trying to get your shell back from this loan shark, and as you guys have seen, he's got different shells. That's one of the mechanics of
Yeah.
the game that's pretty interesting. Each shell has a different ability attached to it, and you can trade out those shells whenever you feel like it. Like
Oh, that's dope.
you can be in a boss arena, and they might have different shells littered around the arena that do different things, and you can experiment with them to take out the
Wait a
boss.
minute. Wait a minute. The gun? The gun is a shell?
Yes, the gun is a shell.
What?
There's an assisted mode where you have a gun for a shell and it shoots. Yeah, I didn't know too much about that. I was just talking to Dalton about it. I was like, "Oh, there's an assist mode," and then like down at the bottom it says, "Give Krill a gun," and I was like, "Wait a second." So I had to mess around with that. Um, you don't get a variety of weapons. I haven't played too much. I've played like maybe 2 hours of the game. It doesn't seem like you get a variety of weapons like you do in Souls games. You
Okay.
have a crab or a lobster fork, whichever you want to call it. It's like the
Mhm.
two-pronged fork that you use to scrape out the meat of
Yeah, yeah,
crustaceans.
yeah.
That's your weapon, like your main weapon. Obviously, your shells have different abilities that act as weapons as well.
Right.
But this game is it is a Souls clone platformer. So there is some platforming involved. You have a grapple hook system where you can like latch onto something and pull yourself over to it. There's climbing mechanics. Anything that has like a net-like surface, you can climb up. Uh, you're obviously in the ocean, so like sea sponges act as trampolines and stuff like that.
Okay.
Um, but the story, like I said, it looks so bright and colorful and cheery, except for the tax evasion and your home being taken from you. But the story, it's really dark because they talk about microplastics.
Okay.
Because the ocean is being polluted, it's causing the sea life down there to become corrupt, and anything that is corrupted will try to kill you. You end up the first spoilers for anyone who wants to play the game. I would say play it.
Uh, well,
First boss.
I was gonna ask, it's on Xbox, right?
It's on Xbox, Switch, and I think PlayStation. I
Okay.
think it's on all the
Yeah,
consoles.
I'm probably gonna have to look at this.
It's on Game Pass. So if you have Game Pass, it's free.
Oh yeah, I'm gonna look at this. Go ahead and I don't ruin it. It's fine. I don't care regardless. But
So the first boss that you end up fighting is the queen. You get to her castle and she's like, "Hey, I sent out a bunch of my soldiers to retrieve something for me. They're not back. I need you to go find it or find them and bring that back." So that's like your
right.
first mission, and she's like, "When you come back, we can talk about how you can get your shell back." Because she wants to be, a decent person. So you leave and you come back with this big old pearl, and
Okay.
you're planning on giving it to her. And as you're getting back towards the castle, which at one point was beautiful,
Hmm.
the color completely drains. Everything is like this gray, dark, monotone color, and the castle's in ruins. So you had to find an alternate path through the castle, killing all of her corrupted guards, and then you make it back to her chamber, and you're like, "Hey, your people are like crazy. Like, you need to help them." Come to find out, she's also corrupted. So you have to fight and kill her. And
Damn.
for some reason, whenever they're and it's kind of depressing, like the way they talk. When they're corrupted, they're like really, really depressed. They're like, "Oh, life is bleak. There's no hope. We're all gonna die. What's the point? I'm worthless." And it's just like, okay. From a game that's so beautifully colored, it's like I was not expecting that at all. Um, and obviously, like I said, the main thing that they're trying to focus on with this game is don't pollute the ocean. Like microplastic in general is bad for the environment. A lot of the fish that we're eating now, um, people are finding microplastics in it because the fish eat plastic. It breaks down in the
Right.
ocean over
Yeah.
time,
Yeah.
and the fish eat it, and then we eat that. It's not
Right.
good.
It's
Um,
a beautiful example of us as a species not understanding how to keep ourselves alive. Yeah.
yeah.
Asbestos was another one. Sorry to sidetrack
Yeah,
on that,
yeah,
but
yeah. It's like we're in a day and age where technology is great, yes, but we don't see the effects that it might have years down the road.
right,
Um,
right, yeah,
but
yeah. No, it
last note
looks.
to tie up. Oh, go ahead.
No, go ahead. You're good.
I was gonna say, last note to tie up this game. I did just see a post from the developers. Aggro Crab is the studio.
They're
But
really
they
leaning into the branding
yeah,
here.
I
Right.
love it. I love it.
That
Um,
sounds like a development a studio that's like, all right, we have one game that we're gonna make.
only one game,
That
and it
sounds
has to be perfect.
that sounds on the surface like a startup game studio. It's like we have one game and then we will get bought. What's the name of our game and what's the name of our studio?
So
Uh,
funny.
But they did have a post that I was reading, and I don't think the update is live yet, or if it
Okay.
is, I haven't downloaded it. They're like, "Hey, are you tired of this game being bright and colorful because it's a Souls clone?
Oh
We're gonna
no.
fix that." So they added a helmet for Krill to wear that is Solaris helmet. Praise the sun. Um, you get his helmet, and there is a filter that you can turn on where it's that grayscale effect I was talking about, where everything's
Yeah.
like monotone and depressing. The
Mhm.
entire game's like that. So I'm excited for that update
Damn.
whenever it comes out.
Oh wow, this looks like a joy to play. Also, the first I don't know how to explain it, but the crab has baby face.
Yes, yeah, he's
Yeah,
like
like
very
he
he's
would make the
very
game worse.
naive.
I was gonna say make the game worse. Say he's like 10 years old, like in human years. He's like a
I
child.
mean,
You're playing as a
he
child in a
might
fucked up world.
he might be, man. I mean, as a hermit crab, I don't know how long they live.
Right. It's
Um,
it's wild because visually from the screenshots that I'm looking at, it reminds me of like kind of like you mentioned, like it takes you back to your childhood almost, like the
yeah,
Ratchet
it's
and
very
Clank or the
nostalgic.
Jack and Daxter days. Weirdly enough, like SpongeBob Battle for Bikini Bottom stands out to me. Um, yeah,
Yeah, that's kind of the vibe I got. Yeah, I can see what you mean there.
way to throw out a really obscure fucking game that's like not obscure or not obscure the older the person that you talk to, but
They did just remaster that game.
I heard about that. So it's not
It's very
so
fun.
obscure that it couldn't get a remaster.
That's the only good SpongeBob game, man. Prove me
Oh,
wrong.
dude,
Prove me wrong.
no, you're right. I put so many fucking hours into that game, and I was like, I don't even know. I don't even remember when it came out, but
There was
um,
another SpongeBob game that I remember that I really liked.
there's a few SpongeBob games.
yeah.
All I can remember is Battle for Bikini Bottom. Truth Squared, I think was the one like right after that I could remember.
I
So,
think that might have been the one I played
so
that I really liked as a kid.
is this? Do they plan on like supporting this game long term? Like, do they have like DLC or add-ons or anything planned besides like the short-term stuff that you already mentioned? Or
I'm not sure. Like I said, I just found out about this game. This was not the game that I was going to talk about
right? Yeah,
originally,
I know you
but
mentioned that. That means that
I
this came out three
this
days
came out
ago.
like a week ago.
Okay. And already, I mean, I know I talk a lot about like game news and stuff like that, but I also only talk about the shit that's shoved in my face. Like, I don't go searching for game news. Shit just pops up in ads and stuff like that. And I've already seen this and I didn't know what it was. I feel like it's gonna be the viral game of the week at the very least.
For
Just
sure, for sure.
I would have looked at this and immediately passed over it though. So I'm really happy that
Uh,
you mentioned what it actually is.
yeah, like because I originally saw it. I believe it was a post.
Right.
It was on Instagram from the studio. I don't know why it was in my feed or whatever,
Right.
but I was looking at it. I was like, it's like okay, colorful crab game. Okay, whatever. And then a few days later, I saw another post. It was like some of the fighting scenes. I was like, okay, okay. So I looked a little bit more into it, and as soon as I saw that it was a Souls clone, I was like, okay, I'm gonna play it. I'll give it a
Yeah.
shot.
So it being a Souls clone, what about the combat makes it Souls like? Is it like cuz all right, so Dark Souls I love
Yeah,
because the combat is it's less of a dance and more of it's all a dance. It's I don't really know how to explain it. It's slower paced, right? Whereas like
yeah,
Bloodborne is more of a dance, like more of a samba or something quick, right? I do not like Bloodborne because it's fast. It's all parries and like timing, and Dark Souls is timing as well, but it's more you can block and you can kite until you see your moment to strike. You know what I mean? Where
yeah.
does this fall?
Uh, I would say it's probably closer to Dark Souls 1, 2, and 3.
Really? Okay.
Um, and it's kind of weird because obviously, like I said, you have shells that have different abilities,
Right.
and you can roll. You can like dodge out of the
You
way.
can
So you
dodge
can
and roll.
either
Okay.
yeah, you can either do the Dark Souls thing where you go in, wall up on them a few times, and then dodge out of the way, or you can go in, use your shell ability, hide in your shell, which protects you a little bit.
Right.
And there's a perk that you can unlock where if you come out of your shell right as they attack you, it counts as a parry, and then you can attack them like you would
Right.
in
Okay.
a
All
Souls
right.
game.
Hell yeah.
And obviously, like a Souls game, if you die, you lose whatever currency. In this game, it is microplastics. When you kill stuff, you get microplastics.
Right.
That can be used to upgrade your character stats. I guess at some point you can use it to buy stuff. I'm not quite there yet.
Okay.
There
How much?
are items that you can find that you can trade in to get microplastics, such as
Okay.
the little bread clips that like little when the bread bag's
It's all
knotted
like
up.
trash based type stuff.
Yes,
Okay.
yes.
All right. Huh. Yeah, I'm gonna have to. I'm on
It's
listeners and viewers. I'm on vacation right now, so there's like a lot of gaming that I'm gonna be doing. Like it's
it's
catch up week for me, big time.
yeah, it's
And
it's a fun
wonderful
game.
Dalton, by the way, is two things. We're going to interject between this game and the next game for a short segment that I like to call "I Found a Lost Child" that I just remembered, and and then
Uh,
yeah,
you
we'll
want
get
me
there.
to,
Hold on.
okay, okay.
We'll get there. We'll get there. And Dalton, thank you. I want to formally thank you to the world for covering my route while I'm gone. Anyway,
Oh,
continue, Cameron.
So, um, I will say it is for a Souls clone. It is an easier game, but it can be frustrating. Um, I had to cheese uh one of the first mini bosses
Hmm.
because I was getting wailed on. Like I was like,
Okay.
how do I beat this dude?
Right.
Um, I basically left the trigger zone. Like when you first get your shell, um, it fences you off in this area to fight this dude. I
Hmm.
literally pushed my shell all the way out of the trigger zone because it was a can. It was an empty can.
Okay.
Got into it. It activated that cutscene for the boss, and the boss was just standing there waiting for me to be in that area. So I just walked up behind him and started wailing on
Oh my
him,
god.
and he couldn't do anything because
That's
it was
awesome.
unscripted.
That's awesome.
Um, but yes, please play that game. If
Yeah.
you like Dark Souls, it's worth a play.
Right. Dalton, do you have anything to say? Because I've just not shut up for the past like 5 to 10 minutes.
other than I am downloading the game on Game Pass right now
Hell yeah. Let's go.
Great.
because it sounds hilarious and
I'm
awesome.
gonna go do that on my phone or on my phone. I could do it on my phone for my Xbox.
Yeah. So does it have like a similar like difficulty level as far as like a Souls like game?
Uh, I
Like
from what
how do you think how does it match up difficulty wise?
I would say it's probably I don't. It can be frustrating, but it's fair.
Mhm.
Um,
Okay.
like when it comes to platforming, just make sure you watch your step because if you do fall off the map, you will take damage. Um,
Okay.
so that is one thing
Right.
that's not usually tied to a Souls game. But
Mhm.
Yeah, normally if you like fall, you just like fall off of something and die as opposed to taking damage and then dying
yeah,
Yeah, and then the
afterwards.
little cloud guy fishes you out, right?
That'd be nice. Yeah.
what is it? Lakitu.
Is that his? Does he have a name?
Yeah. Well, that enemy
They all have
type, I believe, is Lakitu.
I did not know that.
they all have names. They're all fucking weird names, but they all have names.
I did not know that. Whoa.
So yeah, that's my game.
All
Another
right.
crab's treasure.
All right, I'll give you $5 if you can somehow smoothly segue it into an abducted child or whatever the hell it was.
So
Yeah, did I zone out there?
no, so this
Because
was a
I missed
story.
whatever that was.
Cameron
This was a
mentioned that he wanted to say this, talk about this. Weirdly enough, at the bonus filming.
yeah. I
Oh,
think I told
okay.
John, but like kind of forgot. Um, so as Krill is a lost hermit crab trying to find his
Oh
home.
my god. Oh no.
This, this child. Okay, so let me preface this. This was before the solar eclipse. It was like maybe a few hours before the solar eclipse. Okay,
Right.
downtown was packed with people that were wanting to watch the sun.
Oh,
Do you remember now?
I remember, but keep going.
Okay. So downtown was packed with people who were wanting to watch the sun get blotted out for a few minutes. And I'm on route delivering mail, and I look across the street, and there's this little kid. He's waving at. He's like, "Mr. Mailman, I lost my mom," and I'm like, "Oh God!" Like
You
of
had
all
the moment.
people,
You had the moment that
yeah,
all of us like not dream about, but like every mailman is fantasize, not fantasize, but like we mentally we all prepare for shit like that.
yeah.
And it never
And
happens.
I, I was like, okay, let's see how much how much help I can be, because like obviously I don't want the kid being out there by himself. I could at least stay with him and call the authorities if I have to. Um,
Right.
so I look across the street. I get over to him. I'm like, hey, w- where was the last time you saw your mom? He was like, I don't know. She was with me like
Aw.
2 minutes ago, and I stepped outside, and I don't know where she's at. And I was like, okay, do you live around here? And he's like, yeah, I live in this apartment right here. And I'm like, okay, well let's go inside and see if I didn't know if the dad was home or whatnot. I was like,
Right.
let's go inside and see if we can get you home. So he leads me inside. We get up to his door, and he this was probably the funniest thing he said. He was like, he tried the door handle, and he's like, it's locked. And he looks at me, and he's like, "Do you have keys to get in?"
Oh no.
So I was
How
like,
how
"No,
old
I
did you
don't."
say this kid was?
This was
About?
like a little kid. I couldn't
Oh
I couldn't place an
no.
age, but yeah, I was like, I don't have a key for your house. I'm sorry. And at about that point in time, the door opens up, and the mom's standing there, and I was like, hey, like your kid's been outside like freaking out. She was like, why was he outside? I was like, so I think what had happened was that they were planning on going downtown for the solar eclipse, and either she got distracted about doing something real quick, and the kid just left without her. I think is what happened. But at the end of the day, I got the kid back
Dowdy's
home
like,
safe.
all right,
Yeah, I
mom,
was
I'll
like,
see
hey,
you there.
I did my duty, my due diligence. Have a good day.
That is so
But
wild. I remember I only heard the story via text, and it was a very brief. You had like a very brief telling of it, so hearing the full context is way funnier.
like, I mean, I definitely felt good about it. I was like, oh, that's I did the right thing. And this,
Yeah, you you
That
were
is
like you were like mailman saves the day.
that
yeah,
is
kid
wacky.
kid lost his mom like not even 15 feet from where she was. But
Poor kid.
no,
Oh
yeah,
my
the
god.
kid the kid was like freaking out. I was like, oh,
Wait,
it's
like
okay, it's okay. Like,
I'm trying to like mentally put myself there. How far did he end up being from his own house?
So he lived on like the second floor of um of the apartment building, which, I mean, he was right out in front of the apartment building. So it wasn't more than like 200 yards, if that.
Okay, so I mean, it was still a fairly significant distance for his age. Okay,
Yes,
I got it.
yeah, yeah.
For some reason in my head, I was picturing it as like he made it to the edge of his yard and was like, "Bob, where's my
Yeah,
mom?" Like,
and I think that's
go
what
back
happened.
inside, Bob.
Yeah, yeah. I like I said, I don't know if he thought that she was behind him the whole time, and he just walked her right outside. But
That's wild.
Yeah,
All
it's pretty
right,
bizarre.
all right. You guys want to take a break
yeah,
and come back to it?
my
Yeah,
$5,
yeah, we could
please.
take.
Yeah, yeah. I'll have it to you when I come back from vacation. I got you.
Okay.
Do
Um,
I get
Okay.
paid?
to be fair, sure. To be fair, I don't remember what I was paying him for. So, oh, the Segway. Yes, he did. Yeah,
Yes.
yeah. Do you have a segue into our break, Dalton? Do you want to take a break? Do you guys want to take a break?
We can take a
You
break.
guys want to take a real short, like 2-minute or 2-day break and come back?
Quickly
Dude.
tune out for the next 2 minutes while we tell you about our sponsor.
Mudwater?
Mudwater.
First and only sponsor. All right, bye. Bye. We'll see you guys here in a minute.
Later.
Bye. And we're back from our break. Was it a 2-minute break? Was it a 2-day break? Who knows? These two fools changed clothes, but I'm still in the same shirt, and the clock's still the same behind me. So, who knows?
I
So-
got warm.
You got, yeah. That's
I just like to periodically change my clothes.
the kids in my house.
Every 2 minutes.
The kids in
Every
my
2
house have a phase where they do that, and for no apparent reason, somebody will get like a little bit of water on their shirt and be like, "My shirt's wet." So I'm like, "No, just let the shirt dry." anyway, so we're back from our break. Cameron finished it up his game. Dalton, would you like to go next?
Why did I move here? I guess it was the weather. Or the... I don't know, that thing. That magic. You see it in the movies.
Well, my game is one that we've all, to some level, experienced because it was released within the past 14 years. And it's been re-released like 40 times. Talking about GTA 5. Because I had an itch to play the base game as well as GTA Online. And I had a great time. And I'll have a great story later on that I had alluded to before. So that'll be hilarious and interesting, hopefully. So GTA 5, developed by Rockstar, published by Rockstar. It's just like an action, like it's like your do-it-yourself, choose your own adventure. I'm a drug dealer, criminal, robbery, whatever the fuck you want to do. You want to just murder people, doesn't matter. You can do. It's like a sandboxy type of.
It's technically, I think it's a open world crime sim. They have their own genre. Crime sim.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, there you go.
Nobody takes that out of context.
Yeah.
Dalton's just a
yeah,
drug dealer murderer.
Oh, we're back to Officer Hard Ass, and
hey, you don't know what I do.
over here it's slinging hash on the graphing calc, man.
Oh, that was that was a deeper cut than I was ready for. But it is the successor to GTA 4, as well as many other titles, and it came out on PS3 and Xbox 360 initially, and then got re-released for the next generation consoles and PC, and then got re-released for the next generation consoles after that, and then it got a next gen update that went out to all things except for the PS3 and Xbox 360. I'm pretty sure it's been re-released too many fucking times, to be frank. But also they have teased a new GTA trailer for GTA 6, so that's really cool. So hopefully we'll see more about that in the coming months, weeks, years, however long it takes for them to get it out the door. So that's neat. But yeah, I chose to play this game, like I said, because I was scratching an itch and I was excited. But I had played before when it first came out, but I didn't get the chance to really sink into it in the same way, because this was right, I think I was 12 or 13 when it came out, and my parents were still like a little iffy about what games they would let me play. And the Grand Theft Auto was the one game that my mom was always like, "Hey, you probably shouldn't play this. Like, this is pretty bad for you." And I was like, "Okay, I'm gonna do it anyways, and I'm just not gonna tell you about it." So,
Fair.
if you're listening to this, Mom, I'm sorry, but I definitely played Grand Theft Auto for like 2 years before you finally told me I was allowed to. So that's out in the open. I initially never had completed the story mode or anything. I had just like played little bits and pieces and then got bored and then went to other games, because at that time I was still like I was still in like high school. I think that was when I was still in middle school actually, but middle school, high school, and my friends and I would still play like Call of Duty and stuff. So we would have like the games that we'd play together and the games that we would play alone. And
Mm.
there was like always a stint of time where we would obsess over a game and then go back to whatever our norm was. And so for me, that's when I was first introduced to GTA 5. And then after that, I didn't touch it for a while. You'll notice a trend with most of these games that I talk about in these episodes is it's normally I tried this game, didn't really get into it, didn't really play it, came back across it like 17 years later or however long the time gap is.
Mm.
But I actually this happened this past summer was when I really got back into it. And then obviously I revisited the game pretty significantly over the past month or so. Um, but I have only ever completed the full story one time, and then I have not reached a very like any significant level on GTA Online. There's a caveat to that comes with the story. Um, but yeah, you just go around and you just commit crime and you own businesses and you just like fantasize about what it could mean to be rich in the most unethical ways possible.
Fair enough.
And it was a pretty great time. Like I said, I played both the story mode and online. I definitely played more online, revisiting it than the story mode, just because I had already played a ton of the story mode and wanted to experience more of the online, especially because it's went their online service as like sort of a live service went through a ton of changes that I wasn't
Mhm.
aware of. Like they added all kinds of different stuff with like I like with the heists and whatnot because I had started playing a couple months before the first heists were released when they had like the criminal mastermind challenges that you could do with friends or whatever it was where you have to like complete all of them on the hardest difficulty without dying. And so I had played when that update was released, but then after the hype around like heists and stuff died down, I didn't touch it for a little while, and they added a shit ton more heists, especially specifically ones that you can do solo or with two people,
Mhm.
which was kind of cool because you're not trying to coordinate a group of four because it can be a little bit more difficult,
Right.
especially now because not a lot of people play the game, so you essentially have to hope that people stick around in the lobbies and whatnot.
Oh, really?
But
The player base has died off?
I wouldn't say it's died off. It's just not very if you're just starting out or if you're like a lower level that hasn't experienced a lot of the content, it's hard to get into a lot of them because a lot of the people that are like diehard fans will just look at your level and if you're below like level 327,000, they'll just leave the game.
Fair. I got you. Yeah. 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 We've all been
Yeah.
there. I understand that. Yeah. No.
But
Go
anybody what?
I
Huh? Yeah.
so I was gonna say that my experience with Grand Theft Auto obviously goes way back, but my experience with GTA Online specifically is very limited. So I don't know if you were playing when they did this, but shortly after shortly after the launch of GTA Online, they did a big server reset for an issue that God, I can't fucking remember why, but as compensation, they gave everybody like 2 million in-game dollars. And about 3 weeks after that was the last time I touched GTA Online.
Oh,
Which,
okay.
yeah, so it's been like I don't know, it's been, let's say I only played GTA Online for like 6 months after it came out, right? So really, really limited, which is weird because it's GTA is one of those games, along with like Elder Scrolls games and like a small other handful of things that growing up, everybody wants. It's like, oh, I just want co-op. I want Skyrim but co-op. I want GTA but co-op. I want to play with my friends, right? So when that
Mhm.
finally came out, I just never fucking touched it. And to this day, it blows my mind that I never got into it because it's a playground for me. Um, and I tried to get into it, I think a little bit last year, early last year, maybe the year before. and I only played for a couple of days, which is why I don't even count it, because I was so overwhelmed from being so fucking. It's GTA. You can go in and just do what you want, right? But the problem is all of the content that you've seen that they've done for it, you don't really know where to start or what to do to be able to go do the things that you want to do. So in the end, for me at least, it just ended with like, yeah, this is GTA, and then I was just playing like single player GTA in multiplayer and not like even attempting to like try to find all the cool stuff that GTA Online is known for that doesn't involve just jacking a semi and then having some asshole crash a fighter jet into you. Like, you know what I mean? All the deeper stuff, like the heists. I wouldn't know where to start to do a heist to save my fucking life, but it's fun. I'll get in there and I'll fuck around. But
Yeah, that's where I was coming from, saying that it's like not as welcoming to new players in a lot of ways.
I mean, I wouldn't say that it's not, you're right, it's not welcoming, but it's not in an egregious way, right?
No,
in a,
yeah,
it's
it's
in
like
a very adult way. They don't treat you like you're stupid. You don't drop in and they don't grab your hand and go, so over here is where the vending machines are. And then when you get the vending machine, you need to take it to the cash register and give the cashier your money. We're adults. We know how to do that. They take that to the extreme, it seems like, where it's like, plop, here's the world, figure it the fuck out, asshole. Which also, I don't feel like that respects my time. You have to have like, you got to find a medium in there. You got to find a middle point in there.
yeah, you got to make it worth it for the person checking it
Right.
out. Yeah,
Yeah.
because now I think their main thing is they just like you get a phone call and then this guy talks to you on a phone call and then there's a little pop up in the HUD in the corner once you hang up and then it tells you pretty much like a synopsis of what they had said. But
Right.
what they don't tell you is you can just skip those phone calls and then the little prompt will pop up and then you'll never see it again.
Really?
Once it disappears, it's just gone. Yeah.
At which point it's like, well, you missed it. Good luck finding it.
Pretty much. Yeah.
Or Googling it.
Yep.
Yeah. I see. So, yeah.
I will say, GTA, like as a series, I never got into. And then when they
Really?
were talking, or yeah, I don't know, it wasn't really my cup of tea. Because I played GTA 5 like a minuscule amount, and I was just like, eh.
It's
Um,
GTA.
yeah. But then when they were talking, when they did the remaster for the first like trilogy, I was excited for that. And then when I saw what it looked like and the poor like reviews that it was getting, I was like, you know what? I'll skip this too.
Yeah, you picked a bad
So
game to try and get into.
It is, yeah,
yeah,
yeah. At the very least, it seems like for the multiplayer, the single player it got a lot of awards and they were rightfully deserved. Rockstar did a very,
no,
very good job
yeah.
on the campaign and the single player experience for GTA
And
5. It's phenomenal.
Yeah.
it's not that I don't like Rockstar games at all because I love Red Dead Redemption.
Right.
Right.
Um,
GTA with
so
horses. It may just be an
yeah,
aesthetics thing for you.
GTA minus cool guns and cars.
Right. Yeah, no,
Yeah.
like I was glued to the single player for a couple of years in GTA 5. It was bad enough to the point that when I did stop playing it, I had to come back. Whenever I got the itch, I always jumped in just to see what the fuck Trevor was doing, and then I would get off the game. Like distinctly remember plenty of times I would load up the game, switch to Trevor, see him crawling out of the dumpster in his underwear, and go, "Yeah, that's Trevor," and then I'd go to a different game.
Yeah, Cameron, I would definitely, if you haven't played the GTA 5 campaign, it has a lot of really redeeming, like cool
Oh, it's
factors to it.
phenomenal. It's really, really good.
Yeah. And if you liked Red Dead Redemption single player, you'll like that for sure.
Yeah. 'Cause I mean, I've watched Let's Plays where people like start up the story mode, and is it Michael? Is he like the first character?
Michael's the white guy. He's the rich old white guy.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, you play as
that's
him when you're in the snowy area at the very beginning of the game.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Like that first part of the mission is about all that I'm familiar with.
Really? Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because
But
that's not
that's
even
a
touching.
good that's a good intro to a game,
Oh
by
yeah,
the way. Let's
it's
just
it's movie
acknowledge that.
quality.
Yeah.
The whole game is the quality of the storytelling in that game is screaming to be made into a movie.
Yeah.
The
It
problem is,
practically is in a lot of
yeah,
ways.
the problem is it's too good for him. The movie would fail because it could never live up to how good it's presented in the game. But that's wild because that's not even touching the open world aspect of the game. That mission is that mission is a closed off small map type thing. And then there's like a transition over into like 30 years later or 20 years later or whatever the hell the present day story takes place in the game. But yeah, no, if you haven't really played you should play the single player. It's worth the 15 to 20 hours if you like run all the red lights.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, if you
not
blow
terribly
straight
long.
if you blow straight through it, it's not super long. If you try and do everything, it is like Ubisoft completionist single player level. Like
Yeah, no, it is a lot of the missions in there are like it's just real good. There's one, the one that comes to mind is I know I don't want to ruin anything in particular, but the bank heist up north, Daulton, with the juggernaut suits essentially.
yeah.
Yeah, that's fucking awesome. You really should play it. When I would get bored too, I'd just get on there and the highway that loops around the map, I would just have height speed. It's a great game to just play Need for Speed on, to be completely fair.
Yeah.
I I think the closest game that I could say that I've played that's GTA would be The Simpsons Hit and Run. It's like a very
Oh
like
Oh
yeah,
my god.
PG.
I have that on the
Yeah, it's like a
Xbox.
very PG. Yeah, it's a very
Yeah.
PG GTA version.
Is
Yeah.
that the one where when you select Bart, he's like, "I'm Bart Simpson. Who the hell are you?" And is the space shuttle his car, if I remember correctly?
Yeah, yep,
Yeah.
yep.
Yeah. What
I'm not
made
sure if
you
that's one I've ever played.
really?
Yeah.
It was on the OG Xbox and
GameCube.
it was on yeah, GameCube. Yeah. But it's kind of like a GTA-esque crossed with Crazy Taxi. In the vein
Oh,
of
okay.
yeah, it's fun. It's real fun. And there's like 4 or 5 different maps that you can unlock throughout Springfield and shit. It's fun. But what made you want to play GTA 5 for the episode?
So, I just wanted an excuse to really dive into the online mode
Mhm.
and try and get into more of the activities on there a bit more. So,
So how far did you make it into that? Like where well, I guess where were you starting out from and
so,
how far into did you dive?
so I had like a level. I think it was only like level 30 something, maybe
Okay.
35 was where
Super
I
low. Okay,
started.
gotcha.
Yeah, pretty low in the grand scheme. And then I like had some money from like every once in a while you'll log in and they're just like you are receiving a loyalty reward of $100,000 and I'm like, "Oh, cool." And then I just like didn't spend any of that money for like several years. So I racked up like almost $4 million just like playing idle for 9 years of Grand Theft Auto Online.
My man played the long game to cheat. Got it.
Yeah. Yeah, so I was like I was in the mid 30s. I had like the not like the original so there was the original like high-end apartment that was like 500,000 that you could
Mhm.
get in in like the hotel condo looking building. But I bought like the extra nice version of that I think came out to like 1.2 million, but that was before I had gotten all this other money. So I had that for a while. I had
Is
done
that
the
the
first.
is that the condo that's at the top of the skyscraper on the northern side of the city?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yep.
yeah, that's what I got. That's what I bought with my 2 million compensation from Rockstar.
Yeah, that's like the
Yeah, okay.
classic. That's the classic like spot where everybody pretty much lives.
Yeah.
But I did that. I did a couple of heists. This is what I've done with the character previously. I did like the first two heists, I'm pretty sure. I did like the small bank one and then the prison break one. Done other like little various missions. There's one of the later heists that you're able to do with just two people I did with a guy that was pretty fun. That was pretty cool. That was almost like for us being Destiny players, that was pretty much like just a 2-man raid, and it was really sick
Okay.
because you had to like coordinate strategies and all kinds of cool stuff like that,
Right.
and use specific pathways. So, um, and then yeah, I while I was actually playing at past that point, I did another heist. I just ran various activities with one of my buddies. Because there are like modes where they will rotate out what gives you like bonus rank and bonus cash. So I pretty much was just doing the bonus rank and bonus cash missions to try and get as much rank and as much money as I could.
Mm-hmm.
And then I bought a couple things, and then let's see what else. Oh, I bought a business. That's what I blew. I blew like $3.7 million on a business. And it's a nightclub that I can't really do much of anything with other than walk in and collect my daily earnings of 100,000.
I don't know why, but that takes me back to Vice City. Hard.
Yeah.
You could
Yeah,
have
but
Vice City. You could was the first game where you could like own a business. You could buy a business,
mhm.
and then um, one or two of them maybe had an interior modeled, but like you'd buy them, and then just like once a day or whatever, there'd be like the floating money icon, and that you'd walk past. You'd get out of your car and you walk up to outside the building, and you couldn't even go inside, and you'd collect your money and dip. That sounds very, very that-ish.
Yeah, it pretty much was that, but I also you can register as like a business owner in the game, and that'll unlock like a couple extra activities and things you
Mhm.
can do. Um And then yeah, I mean I basically just like did missions, did heists, bought some cool stuff, became a business owner in the game, which is
Mhm.
normally like the pinnacle thing where you're just like, yeah, I made it, woo. But I didn't realize I looked up like various guides and things being like what can make me the most money after I
Right.
purchased it, and it said
Right.
nightclubs. But what it failed to disclose with the nightclubs is the nightclub has the highest overall earnings hourly.
Mhm.
However, for you to maximize your earnings overall, the outside of that hourly earning, you have to own other businesses along with it. And then that nightclub essentially serves as a central hub for you to like launch all your activities and all of your like missions and tasks on. So
Oh, okay. I see.
yeah. But I don't have any of those because I spent all my fucking money on a nightclub. So like I said, right now I'm just coming in and collecting my 100 grand, and
You bought the airport, but you don't have any planes to park at it.
yeah, pretty much, yeah.
I
But
got you. That's funny.
Cameron, were you gonna say something?
Uh, not that I was aware of. Oh, well, I
Oh,
guess
okay.
okay. So like I know that the single player obviously has like an actual story. Is there
Right.
Yeah.
anything like that in the multiplayer? Like, or is it just kind of like, hey,
Uh,
you're in the same world, do whatever you want?
kind of both. I would say if you do more of like the heist stuff, it's kind of like with raids on Destiny. Like those give you a bit more context as far as like individual specific stories. With that stuff, you kind of learn a little bit more. But as far as like an actual like storyline, not really. At
Okay.
least not that I've experienced. You're pretty much just like, hey, you're a criminal, get rich and do crime. It's a very shallow story from like the from a first glance.
Have you guys seen the movie Free Guy?
No.
You haven't?
Mm-mm.
Really? Neither of you have? Okay, so
No.
Ryan Reynolds stars as Guy in Free Guy, and it's essentially if Ready Player One was GTA. But very stupid, goofy GTA. And there's like everybody when you log in, it's immediately stupid things like uh helicopter explodes onto the side of a building while carrying a bank truck that it just picked up off the side of the road. And the NPCs are very just another Tuesday. Like it's very on the nose, right? You should watch it. It's
What'd you say it was called?
it's called Free Guy.
Free Guy. Okay.
Free Guy, yeah. But Cameron, in a weird roundabout way to answer your question, go watch Free Guy. That's what GTA Online is. Like At least watch the trailer. It would give you a pretty good answer.
That's so
Okay.
funny.
Okay.
Not
But this,
sponsored by Free Guy or Ryan
Right.
Reynolds. I wish.
yeah,
It'd be cool.
yeah, it'd be cool.
Because at least with my experience with Red Dead Redemption Online,
Mhm.
there's not like a story, but like it's like, hey, this is your character. Like you need to do these first few little things first to just kind of get yourself into the world, so to speak.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, no,
But
the gameplay loop at the very least of GTA Online is mostly think of single player GTA when you're not actively doing any missions and you're just doing the stupid shit. That's pretty much the loop that everybody else is also following. But there's like group activities that seem to be sprinkled in that you can join in and do.
Mhm.
Yeah. So.
But okay, so this brings me to the crazy ass story that literally happened 10 minutes before we had started recording for this episode, right? So I'm playing with my one buddy, and he's like, we're just like doing random missions and things together, and it keeps bouncing us in and out of lobbies. Because that's one criticism I have for Grand Theft Auto is it's fucking impossible to just stay in a lobby with people. Like it constantly like disconnects you and switches you to a different lobby, or when you're trying to do different missions, it'll boot you to a new lobby, and sometimes it won't take your friend with you that you invited to the lobby. It like won't keep you in the same place. It's really frustrating and really annoying, but not the point. Well, I mean, I guess it is the point because we got booted to a different lobby.
I mean,
And
that's kind of a big point considering it's a multi hundreds of millions of dollar company that's running the operation. They should be
yeah,
get the networking figured.
yeah, I suppose. I don't think it's not like a networking thing. It's just the way that they handle matchmaking for different lobbies. I think they
Oh,
approach it to
okay.
they try to break it up pretty consistently.
Gotcha.
But there was when you're loading into a game or loading into a lobby, like joining back from a mission or a heist or what have you, you can hear things start to happen in the world because it technically loads the world and loads your character. You just like aren't physically there yet until it like fully has enough information to actually
Yeah.
plop you down into the world. So he loads in to a different lobby from me, and he just starts hearing this ridiculous like just spamming noise that doesn't sound natural, and he's confused, and then he loads into the game. Okay, so he started GTA Online as a level 2. He was like dead new to everything. He did one mission with me which ranked him up to one level, and that was it. Then we did a couple more missions at ranked, and then he was up to like rank like 13 or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
He joined into the lobby hearing this spamming sound, and when he finally loaded in and had all the information, he had $200,000 in his game that he shouldn't have had, and he was a level 57 because this random guy was using like a macro key spam like software to just infinitely press a button, and he was using a mod menu that was just like giving everybody a bunch of shit. So then once I finally got in, by the time he and I left, we were both over rank 100. And this happened like 10 minutes before we started the damn episode. And it was so random. And this guy was and everybody was just like, give us money, give us money, give us money. And he's like, I can't. It's the only thing I can't give you. Because there's like a Rockstar verification thing that you can do that gives you like $50,000.
Mm-hmm.
And he's able to spam that command, but it only is active every like few minutes because it'll say like the Rockstar servers are having an issue processing your blah 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 blah.
Because he's fucking crashing.
Yeah, pretty much. He's pretty much DDoSing their servers with these requests. And so we're in this lobby, and it was the most bizarre because I had never seen that. I know that like cheating and modding was like kind of a normal thing. when it
Black
came
Ops
to
is a huge thing with mod menus. Yeah, yeah,
oh
yeah.
yeah, modded lobbies. Yeah,
Yeah,
instant like
yeah.
5th prestige just because you popped into a lobby. It's like, oh okay,
Yeah, you're like,
whatever.
oh, what? It's
You
my
got-
first,
you got-
it's my first game.
You got
okay.
yeah, you got one kill, and they said that you got 1.42 E times 10 to the 47th power XP.
It's like, oh, okay.
Yeah. But yeah, so that happened literally right before the episode aired, and then obviously I haven't played since. I
But
am willing to bet you
you beat the
I
game. That's why. You don't
yeah,
need to
yeah,
do more.
that's it. Yeah, but he gave us access to all the weapons, so we didn't have to buy any of them. He ranked up our rank a shit ton. I really hope this doesn't get me banned on this game because I did not do this.
I'm
This was
sorry.
not.
I didn't hear you when you announced. What's your PSN name? What was
Oh,
it?
don't worry about it. It
Okay.
was on PC, so it doesn't matter.
What?
But yeah,
You
so
mean you're what? No.
but yeah, so it was so wild and so bizarre because I had never experienced anything like that, even in that game. And I haven't even opened the game up since. So like I know that some games, if you like get cheated by a like by a third party person,
No.
they'll like reset your shit back, being
Yeah.
like, we noticed that you were a victim of this
Right.
circumstance,
Are
and we
you
know that it
scared to
wasn't you.
open GTA for fear that you're just gonna get a ban
Actually,
message?
you know what?
Are we
I'm
doing
gonna
this?
I've
yeah, I'm
Oh,
gonna open it.
oh,
I'm
his
gonna
room's red. We're doing this. His
yeah, I'm gonna open it right
Wikipedia
while
now.
while Dalton's doing that, I actually have a story similar to that. So
Go
back when
for it.
Halo Reach was still really popular, there was a glitch
Hmm.
you could do where if you finished up the weekly challenge, if you disconnected like your Ethernet cord, it
Yeah.
would give you the XP for that.
Oh, yeah.
And then if you reconnected, you could do that challenge again because it didn't actually
Hmm.
finalize it. So me and
Right.
one of my buddies were like doing this repeatedly, trying to get to the max rank, and
So you were the one doing
he
it on
yeah, he
purpose.
got caught doing it, got his rank reset to 0, and I was unscathed. So to this day, he refuses to play Halo Reach.
Were you guys?
Damn.
I'm assuming you guys were sharing lobbies and shit while doing that.
Oh yeah, oh yeah.
How the fuck did you not get caught?
I have no idea.
That really is a kick
Apparently
to the.
there was like a list, and like my name was right below his, and that was like the cutoff.
You know, I don't feel bad for him for not wanting to play. I'm kind of mad
Yeah,
for
when
him. It's fucked up.
yeah when he got on one day and found out he was reset, he was like, "Yeah, I'm done with this game."
Oh my god, dude. That's wild. I've never had an experience like that in games, but I'm a good boy online. I'm a good boy when I play multiplayer games. I don't run with bad crowds. Shit. No, what was is it loading? Are you getting it?
Yeah, it's loading. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Cool. Cool. So, yeah, that's GTA 5. You play any of the other older ones, Cameron?
No, that's what I was saying earlier when they said that they remastered the first 3 games. I was really excited for it because I was like, "Oh, I've never played
Mm,
them. Like, I'll get to
right.
enjoy them in better quality." And
Right.
apparently, it's much worse than the
I don't know
original.
what year did GTA 3 come out? GTA 3.
um,
GTA 3
from my
released in
under
2001.
ooh, yeah,
So I
from my
was
understanding, they used they used AI to redo all of the texture work for the games, and it
really.
was just yeah, apparently it was just bad. Like, it looked
Oh, it was bad.
bad.
What'd they upres it to?
Yeah.
4K or? Oh, I
I'm
mean,
not sure.
that game was made to run at like 240. So I could imagine it not being the best.
But I
Yeah,
mean,
well,
like, just
apparently there were a lot of like bugs in the game itself. Not even performance wasn't even the issue. It was like the characters looked weird because they were redone by AI, but at the same time, they also everything didn't like function the way it was supposed
Right,
to.
right.
I
No,
know
I
when
do
it
think it was
first released. Oh, go ahead,
good.
go ahead.
No,
When
good.
it first released, the lighting was completely busted for like I think the
Mhm.
first game. So like when you loaded in, there was like no sun and everything was kind of in shadow.
Really, I completely skipped the remastered for all three. No, I was
All
gonna
right,
say that. Are you in?
I am in, and I am still a rank 157 with all my stuff.
No, I was gonna say I thought it was funny that Dalton mentioned that he had to like hide it from his mom for like 2 fucking years. So GTA 3 was released in 2001, which would make me 9. And by the time I played it, I would have been 10. We were over to watch the Lions game up in Michigan. My uncle lived just outside of Detroit, so we were watching the Detroit Lions game, which is a tradition in our family on Thanksgiving. But before the game started, my dad was born in 43, but he was still a pretty big video gamer when it came to PC. And my uncle was showing him this cool new game called Grand Theft Auto 3 on the Xbox or on the PlayStation 2 out in the living room, while I was playing either this gets brought up so often, either The Sims or Theme Hospital on their computer in their bedroom. When I came out,
Sims.
fucking love The Sims, dude. When I came out to them playing poker and GTA 3, I begged to play the GTA 3. The GTA 3, I just sounded 60. So against my father's best wishes, or my better judgment, he let me play it. And my mom took the controller from me around the time that I pointed and laughed and said, "Look, Mom, a chalk outline where the paramedics picked up the body." And she was like, "Okay, that's enough for." Hey, The Sims. What's that for? Is that for the Xbox or the PlayStation? What is that?
GameCube.
Is that the GameCube? Yo,
Yeah.
let's go. Is that The Sims 2 or is it The Sims 1?
The Sims, like the first game.
Oh, have you played it?
Oh yeah, yeah.
Oh, it's fucking awesome, dude. The
I've
Sims
only, I've
on
only.
console is like,
We're like getting completely derailed. I'm sorry.
yeah, fuck yeah. The Sims on console is a whole world of beautiful. It's a fucked up beautiful, but we can talk about it some other time. But to play GTA 3, to get my own copy on my PS2 at home, I made this wacko fucking deal that lasted all of 3 minutes after I got the game, where I wouldn't kill anybody, I wouldn't cuss, and I wouldn't mess with the prostitutes because I knew what prostitutes were at 10 years old. My mom was already disappointed in me. And if I followed those rules, I could play the game. So I had my PlayStation hooked up to the TV out here in the living room. But when the PlayStation went back to the bedroom, yeah, that was my first experience with GTA 3 or with GTA, and then I backtracked to GTA 2 from that. So fun times. What a game for fucking degenerates, man.
Yeah, it's a fun game though. It's
Oh,
like
yeah.
it's a nice way for you to like do terrible things and like not do them in real life.
Right. I mean, it's a great game to like just blow off steam when you're bored.
Yes, it is a very much like a boring like a boredom cure filler type game.
Genuinely, I have 10 minutes before work. I'm gonna hop on GTA, grab a car, and run around. Like,
Yeah.
and fun shit will ensue. It doesn't matter. Like, fucking the game. It's been there's been tricks in the coding for GTA for quite a few games where it's like if you try to play the game in a boring way, if the game forces interest on you. It like keeps a internal clock timer running of like the last time an incident was, and it has its own definitions for incident. And if that timer lapses without you lapsing it, it'll throw something your way. Whether it be you're just walking down the sidewalk, you're like, I'm just going to play the game normally. Well, 3 minutes into playing the game normally, there's a reason that dude flew by you at 75 miles an hour, swerved off the sidewalk, and threw you up into the woods. It's because the game's timer lapsed and it thought you needed. I've watched a couple videos. There's a science behind the science of fun for GTA. How they keep you they keep you pulled into the game. So
I never
fun.
knew
Good
that,
game.
honestly. I didn't know they had it like worked into it like that.
Yeah, if I remember to look it up, I'll send it your way so you can watch it. It's a pretty interesting watch.
Yeah.
So that's GTA.
That is GTA. That was my game. I did some cool stuff. I killed a lot of people.
So again,
Yeah.
If I remember correctly, GTA only became GTA that we know of is because there was a game. It was a top-down, like you just hijack people, steal their car, and try to outrun the cops.
Mhm.
I can't remember if it was called GTA or if it was
No,
like the
it
precursor that
wasn't.
led up to GTA.
There was a crime game that GTA or that Rockstar cloned into GTA into what would become GTA 1.
It was just called Cops
if
and
I remember
Robbers, wasn't it?
I can't remember.
Pretty
But,
sure.
That
um,
sounds
it-
right. That sounds right.
I do remember watching
That's
a
my that's like the extent of my knowledge when it comes to anything GTA.
yeah, no, I remember watching a documentary a long time ago on like the making of the first GTA, and they took a fairly simple game, and what would end up becoming GTA 1 is with the exception of Cops and Robbers, and the top down view is wildly different from what they got their inspiration from. So yeah, cool. Want to talk about something else? I have a game.
Yeah, what do you
Yeah,
got?
I
Yeah,
have
sure,
I have
sure.
a game that this is going to be a weird one, guys, and I don't know how long or short it's going to go. But I have a game, and before I get into it, it's made by EA. If that means
Uh-oh.
anything.
Is it The Sims?
No, it's not The Sims. It's not The Sims. So I've talked to you guys a little bit before about the Command and Conquer series, right? And about RTS games in general.
I think so, yeah.
Okay, so technically I brought one game, but I'm going to talk about 13-ish. Okay.
Oh, that's a lot more than
5
one.
hour episode. Here we go. Let's go.
Let's go. I played Command and Conquer 4 Tiberium Twilight, and I do have gameplay of it running in the background that I recorded. So the Command and Conquer series, Tiberium Twilight specifically, was released March 16th in 2010 by Electronic Arts. It was developed by Danger Close, who made a lot of other Command and Conquer games after Westwood Studios closed in the late 90s. They created the original couple of Command and Conquer games. I have a problem with this game, as does the vast majority of the strategy game community. This game sucks. It just fucking sucks. We can leave. I could genuinely leave the episode at that, and anybody that knows about RTS games would understand exactly where I'm coming from. But you two don't, so let's talk about it.
Okay.
Command and Conquer started as it was one of the first RTS games in the genre. It helped define the genre along with the original StarCraft and the original Warcraft back in the early 90s. RTS games being real-time strategy where you and your opponents start out with a base, right? You start out with a single unit, and from that unit, you create a building. And with that building, you create another building, and that building goes out and harvests resources. And then you build your power plants. And then you use the resources and the power that you're bringing in, right, to create a war factory or a barracks to create units. And then it just compounds. It gets more complex from there, right? And you can branch out to base defenses. You can branch out to higher technology buildings, can unlock higher technology vehicles or units like extremely heavy tanks and whatnot. That is the core of real-time strategy up until about Command and Conquer 4. Command and Conquer did this game 1. Command and Conquer Red Alert did this. Tiberian Sun did this. Red Alert 2, Red Alert 3, Yuri's Revenge. There's 13 or 14 games in the Command and Conquer franchise that held true to this sentiment over the course of well over a decade. Like well over 15, we're pushing 15 years with this tradition. StarCraft did this all the way through. Age of Empires did this all the way through. I'm going to talk about one game in particular that I love to death here in a little bit that goes against this principle and follows the principle that's going on the screen behind me. Command and Conquer Tiberium Twilight took the base building, they took the unit organization, they took the tech trees, they took the resource gathering, the resource management, they took all of that and they threw it out the window and started completely from scratch. None of that is in this game. So literally the way a game of Command and Conquer would go was you would get your mobile, you would get your command center and you'd place it, and then you would place a power plant and your harvester, and it would go off and gather resources, right? I kind of explained this. And over the course of the game, you would go from like one little building to 30 or 40 buildings in your base, and from 1 or 2 units that you spawned in with to hundreds or to tens, potentially hundreds of units to wage war across a gigantic map with. Command and Conquer decided to do completely away with Tiberium Twilight, decided to do completely away with base building, and instead you have one unit. You have one building that moves around the map and can deploy itself and undeploy itself, or fold and unfold from building to vehicle mode. And from that vehicle, you create units, and you're capped at like 15 units. So the strategy in this game has gone from base defense and using the strengths and weaknesses of different units to using a single mobile base to try and stay out of harm's way and possibly deploy close to your enemy while you can build 10 to 15 units at a time. I want to say it's more complex than that, but it's really not. You have 3 different types of armies that you can choose from. I know everything that I said at the beginning. I mean, I'm sure all of us have at the very least seen like StarCraft, right? It's insanely it can be insanely complex and insanely strategic. This is not that. What's heartbreaking about this, you can kind of see what's going on behind me. Sorry for the for the listeners. That one vehicle that is dropping right here is the one unit that you get to move around the base. That's your building that you get to move around the base, right? So what's heartbreaking about this was this was the last Command and Conquer game to release in 2010. We have not had a Command and Conquer since. And this game, this franchise it's kind of like a cult classic movie. It doesn't have a huge following, but the following that these games have is extremely tight knit and extremely close.
Just not this one.
No, this is universally hated. And I kind of hate myself for it because I only put 2 hours in this game. The entire recording that's going on behind me is the entirety of this game that I've ever played. And I hate it. Although I don't think it's as bad as people say it is, but I fucking hate it. It's bigger than the game itself at this point. I wish it did not exist, and I wish that we could go back in time and delete it to pave way for something better. But it's not as bad as people say. There's almost no strategy to this game. Almost the entire, ideally, from what I explained earlier, this unit that moves around the map. You would want to deploy it close to the enemy lines, drop your units off, and then pick your unit back up and have them walk or fly, depending on which army you choose, back to safety, back to the back lines where it's a little bit more safe. And then you're monitoring your units up front, and as they start to dwindle, you'll maybe take your base up and drop a few more units off on the flanking side. I didn't do that. I followed the Command and Conquer strategy, the traditional tried and true Command and Conquer strategy, where I plopped that motherfucker at the back of the map and just spammed units until I had my 15 units, and I fucking sent them up to the enemy and I crushed them. No defensive buildings, no resource gathering, nothing. I did the exact same thing that you do in the regular Command and Conquer games, but without all the things that make Command and Conquer fun. And I did that in this 2-hour recording. You have NOD and you have GDI. It's the 2 factions. Command and Conquer is really famous for there's a storyline for each faction, even though they're opposing, so you get the entirety of the story from both perspectives. I got through 6 of the 8 missions in 2 hours for NOD, following that exact strategy. Really fucking boring. And what's like I said, what's sad is that they took such a big they strayed from their own path so far on this one in a way that they almost knew a lot of people would hate because this is not the first game to try this. I can't remember what the names of the first games that tried this kind of gameplay are because they failed. They did not catch on. They're not memorable, which is sad because Command and Conquer, when EA, it's one of the few good things that EA actually did. It was never really a money-hungry franchise. It was never really anything that actively tried to piss off its community. It's something that EA did that generally, whenever something was done, the fans worshipped it. Even the other couple of times that they did stray away from that kind of, they had a first person shooter, but it's in the vein of Halo Wars, whereas like Halo Wars is an RTS that is extremely faithful to the Halo universe. Command & Conquer Renegade was a first-person shooter that was loved because it was extremely faithful to the Command & Conquer universe. That being said, this strategy behind me that I am bitching so much about is literally what inspired Halo Wars to become Halo Wars, and I love Halo Wars because it's not Command & Conquer. You have the bases in Halo Wars aren't mobile, but they are fixed in place. You do have base building, but it's limited. You only get like 7 slots to place different things down, and it's almost universal. Your first base is going to have 2 supply pads. It's going to have 1 generator, a barracks, a factory, and an airfield. Religiously, every game of Halo Wars that you ever play will follow that. And then the next base that you pick up on the map is either all going to be supply pads or it's all going to be generators. Religiously. But it's fun because that's how it was intended. They didn't break their own tradition to do that like EA did with Command and Conquer. I need to breathe. Questions.
So, was it this game that put that studio under, or was it that the studio was going under and this was like their last game and that's just what it was?
I believe that this is what put Danger Close under. I can't remember if Danger Close actually closed its doors or not, but this was a massive, massive hit against them. And EA, being EA, tried to push all of the blame off onto the developer instead of the fact that they were the publisher and they were the ones that were, pulling the strings at the end of the day. Yeah, so that's Command and Conquer. The other 12 games are beautiful, and this is a pile of dog shit.
Trying to see if they
One thing that Command and Conquer, even in this game, has always been very well known for, and it's very good in this game. You may have seen it over my shoulder when I started playing the video, is all of the cutscenes in these games. There's no in-engine cutscenes. It's all full motion video. Everything in Command and Conquer that's shot cutscene-wise or cinematic-wise is full motion video. Which makes for some really wacky and stupid, like it's very, very B and C grade home movie type stuff, but that's part of the charm to it. Say what?
According to this, Danger Close was shut down, with most of the staff moving on to DICE LA, which is now known as Ripple Effect Studio.
Okay, all right.
It's another subsidiary of EA. So they still work within EA, but it's a whole new studio.
Right. Well, what's sad is that if I remember correctly, they opened their doors as a team from EA. So EA developed and published Command and Conquer 3, which is one of the most, I'm pretty sure it's the most beloved Command and Conquer title, with the exception of Red Alert 2 and Tiberium Sun. That team, if I remember correctly, then went to open its doors as Danger Close Games, and then they made this pile of dog shit. So there's actually been 3 games that have released since Tiberium Twilight in the Command and Conquer franchise, and they were all mobile games, sadly. They were all cash grabs and gotchas. And while they were successful for a mobile game, it's done no favors for the core fan base or for the hopes that anything's going to happen with the core fan base until fairly recently. In the past couple years, the original Red Alert got a 4K remake in the vein of Halo Anniversary, where they remade everything in engine, and you can just hit a button and go back and forth, back and forth, back and forth to your heart's content with the older and newer graphics. And with good old fashioned remake-ness, I loaded the game up and I was playing. And I was like, wow, this looks a lot better than I remember. Let's see what the new graphics look like. And I hit the button and we went back in time and I went, it's ugly. But even more recently, the reason I am playing this in the first place, EA kind of did an un-EA thing and brought the entirety of a dead franchise for no apparent reason in its entirety to Steam, which typically does not happen for an IP unless the IP is actively being worked on. So there actually have been hopes in the community that not necessarily nobody's hoping for a Command and Conquer 5, but rather a complete remake, reimagining, if you will, of the first game. So that's kind of where the franchise is at now. If you can't tell, I'm rather passionate about this, kind of like with the emulation bit at the beginning. This specific franchise, RTSs in general, but this franchise is something that from a very, very young childhood shaped me as a gamer and shaped me intellectually, because I was playing RTS games and thinking about strategy and stuff like that at like age 4 and 5. So that's my sorry, EA. I'll get off my soapbox now. That's that's me in Command and Conquer. Questions? Comments? Complaints?
It's just like such a different franchise from like 90% of other video games I've played. So I find
the franchise or the genre?
The genre.
Okay. Well, nowadays, so real-time strategy used to mean specifically what I said. Real-time strategy was a base builder with unit and resource management. Nowadays RTS games, obviously the definitions evolve and stuff like that. Halo Wars, League of Legends is an RTS game. League of Legends, the other one, Dota, even Valorant. A lot of the hero shooters are they technically fall under the real-time strategy banner now because the definition has evolved. But back in my day, it was literally Command and Conquer, Warcraft, Starcraft, anything that you could fit under a base builder with unit and resource management. So, but no, they're fun to learn. Imagine playing like City Skylines or something like that, but with tanks. That's pretty much what it is. So, yeah, that's that. Anything else?
I mean, I played Halo Wars 2 just for the story to like catch me up before Halo Infinite came out, because
Right.
those storylines kind of tie together.
Yeah.
But that's pretty much the only experience I've had with RTS.
I'm alone. I'm alone on the RTS front.
You are alone.
Yeah.
No. Have either of you played Age of Empires?
No.
Civilization.
I've played Civ.
Oh, you have played Civ? Okay. It's not
I've played
exactly an RTS, but it's RTSC. Yeah. It fell very comfortably in the transition period between what an RTS used to be and what an RTS is.
Yeah,
Civ
I played
is-
Civ 6.
Hell yeah.
Is what I played.
Civ is art. Sid Meier is a genius. Anyway, that's all I have. That's all I have on Command and Conquer. So we good to go to the housekeeping?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Keeping. All right. So at the as was said at the beginning of the episode, we have no emails. The next quarterly bonus is Halo. It's coming out this Friday. It is too late to get your emails in for that. Hi, Daulton. What the fuck?
Send us emails.
Please, I'm desperate. I will do questionable things for emails at this point. Somebody send something. Cameron, shut up.
I don't want to see that on camera, man. Whatever it is.
It'll be in response to the email that's sent. There.
That doesn't make it better.
Well, you're not gonna have to see it.
Okay.
I'll see. I'll see you. Oh shit! The next regular episode is the recording date tentatively is May 24th. Send us emails by then. That's when we need to have them in, so we can read them and talk to you, talk to each other about you, about them, and talk to you. Maybe if you send us an email and we talk directly to you and ask you a question, you'll have to send an email back to answer the question. Daulton knows, right there. Daulton knows. He's doing it.
Yes.
Anyway, go to the website, doortodoorgaming.com. We have the entire list of episodes are on there. The entire list of games that have been played is on there. Every place that you can find us and listen to us is on there. There's information about each of us and what we're into and what we do and where you can find us and watch us do those things is on there. There are a couple of rather large changes, guys, that have happened prior to this episode, but are being announced in this episode. Would you like to know what they are?
Yes. That sounds interesting.
Sure.
Cool.
Yes.
We have a YouTube channel by the same name as the podcast. There is everything that is on there everything that is on here that where you're listening to now is on YouTube. As well as copies of things that I play is on there as well. We also have an Instagram presence, and there are posts, and it's by the same name. We have a Facebook presence. There are posts, and it is by the same name. There is a Threads account by the name of Door to Door Gaming attached to our Instagram, so you can find us on Threads. Our Discord is public. Feel free to drop in and try and chat with us. We will respond, I promise you. If we're desperate for emails, we're desperate for communication in Discord. With the video, that means that on Spotify specifically, you guys can open up your Spotify right now. If you didn't catch it, this was our very first video episode. If you open up your Spotify app right now, you'll see our faces. Cameron's got some. I
was just gonna fact check you on this.
Oh, great. Anyway, so that's been the episode, guys. It's been good. We'll see you in the next one. Bye.
Bye.
What I don't want fact checked. What's happening?
He went, please don't correct me, segue out as soon as possible.
That's exactly what I did. Oh shit. The next episode topic, I'm very nervous about what Cameron's about to tell me.
Oh, you're good.
No, I need to know. You had to start it, announce it to the world.
Well, now I'm trying to look at it. I just see the older episodes. I'm sorry. Move on.
So at the beginning of every episode now, we have a topic that we talk about, and the host, rolls a d20, and whatever the d20 lands on is going to be the opening topic for the next episode. So that being said, I had a d20 at my desk, but I lost it, so I grabbed another one. Next month's topic is going to be a 7. What is 7? Game series, sequels, threequels, and prequels. How far is too far, guys?
Okay, I've got some game series in mind for that one.
That was
that's
fast.
a solid.
Who deserves a sequel and who really shouldn't have that 17th installment? We'll talk about it next month, guys. Oh shit. So, also the special thing about our episode is I'm your host this week or this month, but I won't be next month unless I get tyrannical. At the end of the episode, we pick the next month's host based off of whatever reasoning we want to give. And for that, I am going to choose Cameron. I'm going to choose Cameron.
Cameron deserves the win on this one.
Cameron, I'm not
Your
saying,
game was too good.
I'm not
Your
saying
game was too
that,
good.
I'm not saying that Daulton lazed out or slacked on this episode, because GTA is a very good game. And that was actually that was the longest discussion of the entire game by far, or of the entire episode by far. I was keeping track on the OBS counter, and it was like 45 minutes.
I provided content. Okay.
Content.
Did you
But
guys
no,
end up playing Under the Crab's Treasure? I know you said
I
you were
have not. I
downloading
have
it.
it downloaded. I have it downloaded.
Okay.
I
And
also have it downloaded.
I spent all day yesterday editing two episodes, and all day today starting a new character on Fallout 4, like the degenerate that I am. But
Oh my
I'm
god,
not
me
gonna-
on my
too.
last. Wait,
I'm
really?
not gonna lie.
I started a new character yesterday.
Sorry,
I'm not
Cameron,
gonna
go
lie. This morning, before I left for work, I was watching Nitro Rad talk about his opinions of the game, and
Oh, yeah?
he also highly enjoyed it. So that makes me happy.
Good. You started a new character, Dalton?
Yeah, because we were all. I mean, Fallout's kind of like the hype right now, so I've been
Right.
trying to get back on and see what all is up for grabs. What all is offered.
So I was talking to Cameron a little bit before this half of the episode started. Earlier, I created my own Lucy and pulled the stats from Fallout Shelter and tweaked them a little bit. But I'm currently in the process of speed running all of the settlements and trying to get them trade routed together. Been a slog today, actually. It's been I had to get up at one point after like a 5-hour session on the couch, realizing that my eyes were trying to glue themselves open. I had to walk around. It was bad because it was just like new settlement. How long's the quest? Do I just want to murder everybody here and take over the workshop, or do the quest? Okay, I do the quest. Go back, get copper and gears and springs and fucking crystals. Make all the things. Go back. It was a whole fucking thing. But yeah, no, I've been having a blast playing through Fallout again.
Hell yeah.
Which that's the next bonus episode that we picked, correct?
Yes, I think that's what we all
Okay.
settled on. But we were
Yeah.
all going to talk about a different game.
I'm sorry, what?
We were all going to talk about a different Fallout game.
Oh,
And I
that's right. Yes.
suggested-
Yeah, we're talking about the franchise in general. Yeah.
Yeah, I
Um,
suggested that we each play a game that we don't hate, but it's not our favorite in the series.
Right. And that will be officially announced to you guys in 5 days. Because we do things backwards.
Oh wait,
All
did we
right.
say that in the bonus episode?
Yeah, we talked about it wasn't an argument. We reminded each other about it at the end of the bonus
Yes,
episode
because I
because
completely forgot we even had that conversation.
Did
Yeah.
we pick which games we were doing?
no, we're gonna do the franchise as a whole, but Cameron's idea is kind of what we're gonna go with.
Well,
as a
yeah, no,
whole.
I'm saying
You're
did
gonna talk
we
about-
pick our games?
Oh, no.
Should we do that?
Do you want
Yes,
to?
we don't end up talking about the same game.
Yeah, so we don't end up talking about the same one.
Yeah, we can do that. Yeah.
Okay, 'cause
Cameron wanted to talk about, or Cameron wanted to do. We talk about the game that we're the least familiar with, so we have to play it before the bonus. Correct?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
I will do. Okay. I'm the host. I will go last.
Okay, because I already know which one I'm planning on doing.
Okay.
Okay, and that would be
I was gonna do Fallout 3 because it's the one
Okay.
I've played the least.
Okay.
perfect, because I was going to do New Vegas, so that works out.
I will do Fallout 2. It is the one that I've
Two?
played the
Okay.
least.
Okay.
I have not played 1 or 2, so like that aside, I can't until like May 28th.
That's fine.
So
Perfect. All right. So there you go, listeners, viewers. Ooh, there you go. That's what's happening.
It's been thrown into the world. It's all stitched together once you
Yeah.
watch the bonus episode and then ultimately watch this episode after it releases after the bonus episode. So
This episode releases before the bonus episode.
fuck, I said it.
This episode releases this coming Friday. Then this coming Monday, and then it's this coming Friday, next Friday. It's
Guys,
it's
this
fine.
is
It's
why
fine.
this is why I'm not in charge.
I posted the calendar for you to look at in our Discord.
I didn't look at the Discord calendar because I always forget to look at it, and I only ever worry about when we're recording, not when it's being posted. I'm sorry. Don't hurt me.
I can tell.
Don't pull your gun out again. It's okay.
That's allegedly. What are you guys doing?
Oh
for the
yeah,
rest of the
there
week?
wasn't any video for that one.
Yeah, you can't do that now.
There you
We
go.
have a
Yeah,
YouTube,
see,
YouTube
there's
channel.
it's all hearsay. It's hearsay. It's
Yeah.
hearsay.
What
What
were
are you
you
guys
saying?
doing for the rest of the week?
Doing for the rest of the week.
Yeah, what are you guys doing for
Sleeping.
the rest of the week? What are you doing? What are you playing? What are your plans? You going to well, your dad just got back from Vegas. I was gonna say you going to Vegas. You going to the moon? You gonna play a new game? What are you doing for the rest of the
I'm
week?
gonna be playing Stellar Blade because I'm a weeb degenerate.
Honestly, I think I'm gonna play some stuff on my Switch because I'm probably gonna be spending most of this week in bed, outside of work, because I am tired and sore. So I'm going to rest. This week is my resting week.
Right on. Same.
Like I said, John, there's a
Samesies.
reason why I didn't update the game. Just saying. You can look into that
Alright.
on your own time.
Oh, God damn it. Alright. Yeah, I'm on vacation, so I'm just gonna edit videos and yeah. I'm gonna do vacation-y stuff too, not just edit videos, but yeah. Yeah, that's all I got. That's all we have. So yeah. I guess we'll see you guys in the next episode.
Take it or leave it.
Oh my god. Bye.
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 Oh, I got really lightheaded. Oh my god.
You ever seen the memes like a confused, like, no, great, thanks. Now I have a really confused boner.
Oh no!
Okay.
What?
I'm. Did you play Near?
Oh, shit.
Did you play Near?
No. I need to. Die.
I've never heard someone say that before.
You've never seen the confused boner meme?
No. What?